Now let's proceed to the glottal stop T. How do you make the glottal stop sound? You suddenly cut off your voice in the back of your throat, like the sound in the middle of uh-oh. The glottal stop appears before a syllabic nasal spelled T plus vowel plus N. In other words, the glottal occurs before an unstressed sound. For example, certain, eaten, mountain, gotten, important, kitten, Manhattan. The second point is when a word or syllable ends with a T just before a consonant sound. This could be at the end of a syllable within a word, for example, football, or if it's at the end of a word within a sentence or a phrase, like I can't go. So other examples are atlas, flightless, football, hate mail, greatness, right now, seatbelt, settler, treatment. What can you say? Now, that brings us to the final allophone of T. This is the silent or omitted T. Italicized T means that the sound can be silent or omitted from a word. This T allophone varies the most widely among native speakers and even with a single speaker's speech patterns. The T is less likely to be omitted when the speaker is emphasizing the word for any reason. Also, among all the T allophones, this usage can be considered the most informal and non standardized. So, yeah, there are two scenarios where the T is often omitted. The first one is when the T is optionally silent when it follows N and precedes a vowel sound R, including all R controlled vowels or a syllabic O. For example, center, channel, advantage. So the second scenario is that in addition to the above instances of omitting the T, it is often omitted when it occurs between two consonant sounds, except the consonants specifically mentioned for T and glottal stop. This is likely to occur when an S ending is added to a word. For example, prince, acts, accepts. So, what are the common difficulties students encounter with the T sound? Students struggle mostly with the aspirated, the glottal, and the tap T. Aspirated T lacking air and pressure, or they could also be aspirating the unaspirated or stop T's, as in the words can't, don't. So they should rather say can, don't, but they tend to aspirate the T sound at the end. And another thing is a lack of timing for glottal stop. So they would rather prolong the vowel. For example, football. Yeah, football. So we have to teach them the right timing, the quickness in doing so. And the fourth one is the inability to produce a proper tap D, which sounds more like a stressed D. So when they try to say water, they'd say water, later, later. So how can we help them? First, I would suggest pointing out what's lacking. For instance, if it's a puff of air that's lacking, the stress or the quickness, also point out what they're doing incorrectly. For example, aspirating the unaspirated or stop T or prolonging the sounds. And then explain the rules for the allophones of T for them to get familiar with it and they would be familiar with the predictable environments where T is pronounced differently. Then demonstrate and give examples and practice many times. As we always say, Practice makes perfect. I hope all of these tips would be useful in your future lessons with your students. Thank you for listening. Bye.